class.
Fair.
But the bulk of India, people want a single class product. Deccan fitted that bill fantastically, right? We opened up more routes than had ever been opened before or available for air connectivity. That was one of the biggest contributions we made to the Indian aviation sector and economy, right? Deccan also played a part in that. So, Kingfisher's sad failure subsequently had nothing to do with Deccan.
Okay.
Nothing to do with how much we paid for Deccan. Right?
Got it.
Those were a totally separate set of reasons. Right?
But
business reasons.
Here's the question on it. So I get the idea that you wanted to service more routes. You wanted to consolidate. That was a business decision. You saw that, hey, I want to build a premium airline, but there's a bulk of India who cares about the price. And you wanted to contribute to make sure that I want to make sure that India gets to fly anywhere and everywhere through the price point which Air Deccan provides. And if I could be the one to consolidate it and I could be the one to actually eliminate the disruptor, I should do it. Business decision. Brilliant. Do you think then the wrong decision was to rebrand it to Kingfisher Red?
No, because you can't start operating one Deccan and one Kingfisher. So we just called it Kingfisher Red. I mean, rebranding is common in the world. Take Coca-Cola, right? There's Coke, there's Coke Zero, there's Diet Coke. There's all Coke, right? So a multi-brand strategy is no rocket science.
Yeah. But then the philosophy of Air Deccan was low cost. And in Kingfisher Red, so Kingfisher stood for premium, Kingfisher Red stood for low cost.
It was differentiated Kingfisher first and Kingfisher Red.
Okay.
Right? You tell me something. What's the difference between Coke Zero and Diet Coke? Tell me.
Just two names, I don't know.
Yeah, fine. What's the philosophy behind it? You don't know. So how can all these commentators be commenting on Kingfisher first and Kingfisher Red? You know, the trouble in India is that there are too many commentators who don't understand the facts. And of course, the media plays to the gallery. And that's how disinformation gets spread wide.
And then you stated somewhere, again, the commentators I'm quoting, that I want to, if I've put in a name Kingfisher on an airline, no matter even if it's low cost, I want to provide all the services. You started providing all the services, you started providing catering, you started providing everything in a low cost carrier, didn't you?
I began by saying that Kingfisher started off with all the attributes of a low cost carrier, which is single class, standard fleet, etc., etc., etc. But I said the only differentiator was in-flight entertainment and food. But I mean, just because I gave food didn't make it a full service carrier. I mean, you want, shall I give you examples?
Yeah.
You go on any low cost carrier here in Europe, all right? Do they starve you or do they feed you?
But you have to pay for it.
No, all of them?
I don't know, few of them, the ones I've flown.
Okay. So there are exceptions.
Okay. But that was the business, like that's what everybody talks about, right?
You know, that's the problem. Lack of information and knowledge, and more importantly, no domain knowledge of the aviation industry leads to all sorts of speculation that makes no sense.
So you tell us that, does it make business sense to provide food and in-flight entertainment in a low-cost carrier where people don't care about it?
Wait. Our belief was Indians love food and love entertainment.
That was for Kingfisher first, but not for Kingfisher Red. Kingfisher Red stands for low-cost
Why?
carrier.
An in-flight entertainment system doesn't cost you money to operate every day.
But still costs you a lot of money, which eventually will bleed your balance sheet.
Really?
I'm asking you.
Well, not in our opinion.
Do you think that was the wrong decision?
What?
Just
To acquire
providing...
Deccan?
After acquiring Deccan, giving all the services of a full service carrier in a low cost carrier.
The full service carrier part of it was very distinct from the so-called low cost carrier. Uh, at the end of the day, however you may refer to these business models,
Mhm.
uh, it's all about the price your customers are willing to pay and whether you can fill your planes. Simple.
So your
All models are academic and theoretical that really are irrelevant.
but your critiques say that you were competing against other low cost carriers.
Like,
Like at that time, was it? I think Indigo started at that time,
oh, okay,
and
that's it.
Spice started at that time.
No.
I think Spice.
Spice was there on and off,
Yeah.
but okay,
Okay. So
more off than
So
on.
you were competing with low cost carriers with their pricing, but you were providing something extra. And that's why your business model was bleeding more money than them. And you expected that this will turn into loyal customers. But the moment you increase price, people would not fly your flights. Was
So
it true?
That's what the critics say. They are all aviation experts. I have nothing to say.
So where was the problem? Then if this was not the problem, then
Well,
what happened?
The problem was the government. The problem was fairly and squarely the government. And they've made a lot of political hay out of this. When I used to write to Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, when I used to write to the civil aviation ministers, ministers of finance, the cost of crude, international crude, went to $140 a barrel. The price of aviation turbine fuel in India was directly related to the cost of international crude oil. So you can see that from an average of about $60 a barrel, crude oil went to $140 a barrel, with the resultant and equivalent increase in the price of aviation turbine fuel. The state governments levied an ad valorem sales tax on aviation turbine fuel. So you can yourself now begin to imagine the financial impact on the airline operating, where fuel costs are the single largest component of cost. So I pleaded, I said, look, please give aviation turbine fuel declared good status so that it attracts central sales tax and not this punitive ad valorem state sales tax, right? Because the states are making windfall profits. Anyway, that the government did not do.
Okay.
Aviation is regarded as a capital intensive industry, right? It's acknowledged as such worldwide. Right? They would not permit foreign investment. It was sad that only 6 months after Kingfisher Airlines shut, right, that they permitted Etihad to invest in jet. I had already reached agreement with the CEO of Etihad in Geneva for them to invest in Kingfisher, which government did not permit. So we could not capitalize the airline through a foreign investor either.
Why didn't they allow?
You should ask the government, right? So my point is, the economy, the circumstances, the government policy then existing, all conspired to create a perfect storm through which Kingfisher could not survive.